Hey, hello there. We're doing a quick little rental video on my favorite one. This is the Mandarin Orange R1100S. And I just wanted to cover some little differences in this bike that are different than all of my other ones. You can see everything is here today. And I just wanted to make sure that you kind of knew the starting sequence and how some of the smaller differences are with this one. So normal key and everything like that. So the quick and easy for starting it is if you were in gear, if you were in first gear, you don't have to find neutral in order to start it. You can just clutch in and then hit the start. So if we are in neutral, and with the side stand up, the pump will prime no matter what. But if you have the side stand down, it might not prime, so you kind of don't get a consistent start unless you put that side stand up. It will let you start it even with that side stand down, but you really should put the side stand up and preferably in neutral. And if not in neutral, you can still clutch in, right? Clutch in, and since we're in neutral, throttle, this can be up. Once you get up a little bit in RPMs, or after, maybe 30 seconds or so, you can drop that back down and it'll lower your RPMs. You don't know what gear it is. You only know that it's in neutral. So right now we know that we're in first gear, and I am barefoot. And it can be a little bit difficult to actually hit perfect neutral. Even though you're in neutral, sometimes it won't actually see neutral. So the pump will prime when you're in neutral as well, and you won't know what gear you're in necessarily. I can do a separate video that I already have done on how the ABS works, but when they're both blinking together, all that has to happen is it just has to move about 5-10 feet forward, and it will engage the ABS. You'll hear it turn. And that's as simple as it is. We only moved a couple feet from where we were, and now when you're riding, you would have ABS functioning with no light turn on. A little bit of a difference, the choke is slightly different on this one. The choke is right here, so that's full choke when you're first starting. If you were holding it there and then hit the start, that might give it a little bit more of a start, but even at that, it will give it a pretty good. And if you really had to, you could just kind of blip it just a little bit, but you probably wouldn't ever need that. We have a lot more adjustability in this bike than some of the other ones. So we have the front shock adjuster. So if you want the front end to be more firm versus soft, it actually even says it right there. Turning right is harder and left is softer. And then we also have the same adjuster for the rear shock. All of the bikes actually have this, but it's very difficult to get to the front one, and most of the rear ones, it's not too bad, but it's still just not super common either. So a little bit difficult to turn. And you probably won't, but if you wanted to adjust kind of the feel, if it felt too rough or you wanted it to be a little bit more firm. This is a battery charger, no big deal there. Covering, if you did want to do the 2-up, that's always a possibility of wanting to have a passenger. So we have our little passenger pegs here, and then to take off this little back, you use the back of the key actually. So these both come off, and then this actually slides back and then out. So now you have your passenger back seat. And then if you wouldn't really need to take this off, there's a little toolkit underneath, but if you needed to get to that, you'd use this key right here and turn that, and the seat actually comes up as well. And I did want to cover just the panniers. The panniers on these, it's a little bit easier to see, but this is always where you're gonna have, oh look, a little spider nest. This is always where you're gonna wanna make sure that it's lined up when you're putting them back on. So you turn the key, that unlocks the pannier from the bike, and the second handle unlocks the actual opening. Oh, we'll remove that. And so for the gist of it, you'd always be doing just the one lever. You could even take it out if you wanted to go inside and you wanted to go inside with it. You would kind of re-lock it with just the one handle up and be able to walk this inside with you, you know, if you're going into your hotel room or something like that. And then of course you can put it back, and this is where, you know, I like to cover it, is it really needs to be in that front one and the top at the same time. So you just kind of got to make sure it's really seated here. This is where it'll get messed up. If you go like this, if it's like that and you try to latch it, very easy to break it. And then like I was showing you, it's this. We get it back in the right spot. Handle on the outside, latches. Lock it, go ahead and start the bike, right? This one's a little bit different. It's an aftermarket top box. I left the key in there. Oh, I actually have a helmet and everything in here right now. But to close this one, you have to have it unlocked. It latches. Lock it, pull it out. Nothing can come undone. When you unlock it, you can also remove it from the entire bike by pressing this and then pulling up. So that's if you wanted to bring this bag inside with you as well. I usually just leave this bag on pretty much all the time and then just take off the panniers if somebody didn't want it. And pressing that button is how you unlock it. So pretty straightforward, and you're able to walk away with that. As far as the little things, this one is a lot louder than the other bikes, and it does have a lot of fun upgrades. So we have the extended billeted shifter, so it changes the angle a little bit. We have the added carbon fiber. No center stand. The center stand was removed to add the carbon fiber, so we just have the side stand. We have the little plaque from the 49 Rally when this was likely you know, an earlier bike. These are aftermarket handlebars, actually. I think they're probably a little bit wider or something. The angle, I think, is a little bit different. And we have just like the little protector in the front. Overall, really good condition. This is the only little bit, you know, but there's some rust on the mufflers. And then the last thing is these are fancy R1200 injectors, so it has a little bit more power, a little bit more smoother on the power band. So covering the gauges real quick, we have our horn. This has an upgraded horn, actually. Train horn or something like that almost. This is your brights permanently on, and this is to flash your brights. This is your left turn indicator, you can see on that side. Then this is your right turn indicator on the right side of the thing. This is your turn indicators off, and then this is your heated grips. So that's your that's one level on heated, and that's your all the way off on, or all the way on for heated grips. So that's all the way off. And then for your starting, you with this in the straight position, this red, that's to allow it to start. If you turn it over, that actually makes it so you can't start. So even hitting the button, it won't start. You hear how the fuel pump primes. That's kind of an indicator of that you're in the right position. And so if you but yeah, that was just a quick little review. Not too much to say about it. ABS works every time practically. And if it doesn't, you would just turn off the bike and restart it. This is your only plug if you wanted to charge like a phone or something like that, and it has a weird proprietary BMW. I would have to say you probably need to ask for that if you want to have charging ability, because there's nowhere to actually put your device when it's kind of plugged in. I mean, you might be able to run a wire from there, kind of put it into here, or run it all the way up there, but it wouldn't be super reliable. And you know, you kind of have to special request if you want the plug so that you can plug in your phone or something like that. Otherwise, you wouldn't have any way to plug in. You would just have this one phone mount here. Thank you so much. Enjoy. Yo.